Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of a sci-fi reading vlog. This intro is being refilmed because yet again I've managed to lose my intro clip. This happened to another video. I think it was, what video was it? I'm not sure if it was last week's. Yeah, it was last week's video. I've done the exact same thing. I don't know what I did to it. I'd literally just wrapped up this video, started getting all the clips together and stuff to start editing it, and realised my intro clip is gone. I am doing a sci-fi reading vlog, as I already mentioned, but this sci-fi reading vlog, I didn't know what I was going to be reading. Instead, I left it up to my patrons to decide. I put a poll up for them to choose what book I'd be reading based on emojis, and Exordia by Seth Dickinson is the book that won, which was kind of surprising, but considering I didn't tell them the titles, kind of not surprising at the same time, because I feel like if they knew the title, Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers would have been the one that won. If you don't know what this is, it's the third book in the Wayfarer series, which is like a cozy sci-fi series. I do really enjoy it. However, at the start of this video, I wasn't really in the mood for cozy sci-fi anyway, so I was quite happy that Exordia won, especially because, let me grab the book, Seth Dickinson is the author of the Traitor Barrow Cormorant series, which is a series I absolutely love. I say series, but I've only read this first book. But look at all these annotations. Like, I loved this book so much. I do really want to carry on with the rest of the series, although during the course of this video I find out that I thought it was a trilogy. I thought I'd completed it and had all of them. No, the fourth book. We're waiting on the fourth book. It's been a while. He hasn't written it yet. Whether we're gonna get it or not, I don't know. But looking on Reddit threads and stuff, apparently the way it ends on the third book, like, it ends fine. It's just a couple of little things left open. So we'll see when I eventually get round to that. But I loved this. This was a fantastic read. I thought it was brilliant. And so I was really excited to see that they had written a sci-fi book, especially because I've been trying to get into sci-fi this year, hence why I was doing a sci-fi reading vlog, because this was actually a vlog where it ended up being that I didn't have any books to read for this video. So in May I have so many vlogs coming out, so many reading vlogs, and I realized there are 2 reading vlogs where I didn't have a single book planned and nothing on my TBR because everything else has got their set vlogs ready to go. I don't know what to read, and so in an exclusive video for Patreon I realized this and set up some polls for this, and knew that sci-fi is one of the things I want to do, because as I've been saying a lot this year, sci-fi and horror are 2 genres that I'm really trying to read more in, and horror I've been doing well, sci-fi not so much. So I wanted to do a sci-fi reading vlog this month. As I had the extra reading vlog, figured why not, and yeah, this is what we end up reading. Now I have to admit, my first thoughts about this book was, I'm so excited because it's the same author. How amazing is that? I'm really excited to be reading a sci-fi. Didn't look into it because I'm like, I don't want to, it's fine. And then Danny had done a video. So shortly after I purchased this, Danny did a video where she was talking about how she DNF'd this book, and I was like, oh no. But she did say in that if you like Seth Dickinson's writing, she thinks you'd like this one. She, as much as she liked this book, she doesn't think she's going to be continuing on with the series and things. Like, it's not quite the writing style for her. Whereas I'm like, yeah, give me, I love this book, carry on, cannot wait to finish out the series. So I was like, okay, well, keeping that in mind, I'm still really excited for this, but maybe I should be a little bit hesitant seeing as Danny DNF'd it. And yeah, then we have the rest of the video for you to see how I feel about this book. It is interesting. I'm just gonna leave it at that. This is also a vlog where I actually try out audiobook. I tried reading the audiobook for this. You know, I can say I'm not an audiobook girly, and that this video did not change that, but I did enjoy the process of listening to this on audio while doing other things. That was really nice. However, I am so easily distracted when I'm listening to audio that I know that, like I mentioned this at the end, I had to keep rewinding because I just missed things. So yeah, I don't think audiobooks really are for me. That's what I did for this video. Hopefully you enjoy it. I'll see you at the end to wrap up this video. Well, I've already wrapped up this video, but I'll see you again at the end, I guess. Anyway, I hope you're all doing really well. Let me know what you've been up to. I hope you've had a fantastic week, and yeah, I will let past Kirsten take it from here. evening. I have made decent progress with this book. I am up to page 84. I'm in the middle of a chapter. I don't know where I stopped. Oh, hang on a minute. We're very close to Act 2. No, we're in Act 2. We're very close to Act 3. Oh, okay. So I must have been really close to it oh. Literally, I could have done 2 more pages and we would have been on chapter 6, but it's fine. We're in the middle of chapter 5 and we have these different like chapter breaks in the page, so it makes it quite easy to be able to pick up and put this book down, which is really good. I have to admit, I loved part 1, so Act 1. So this book is broken up into different parts, making me think to use it for our fantasy, I'm not gonna lie, because there's a whole square on our fantasy that's about reading a book in parts. And this one, well, it's broken down into parts, so, well, or acts. So that could definitely work for our fantasy, which would be really good. So maybe if we carry on going, because I do want to carry on, which is really good. I'm not feeling like DNFing it, so that's a plus. So yeah, if we manage to finish this one out, then I could do that for our fantasy. Again, not the book that I had originally planned for that space, but also quite happy to fit this one on there, so that's great. But yeah, okay, so where was I going with this? Let's start at the beginning. Act 1. I liked that part much more than this second part I'm currently in. So in the first part we meet Anna, and Anna is from Tawakkul. I'm probably mispronouncing that. She's Kurdish. I should also say this is set in 2013 and she is now in her early 30s. We meet her as she's very, very angry. She's full of resentment and things for America, American military, all of the broken promises that they gave to her people and not helping out in that war and things. But as we meet her, she's just been fired from yet another job and she's just like, you know what, this day can be over, I'm done with this day. But as she's walking in Central Park, she meets Sirin, and Sirin is this alien, but no one else seems bothered by this massive serpent alien creature thing that's in Central Park. And she's a bit like, does nobody else see this massive snake thing just crunching up all of the turtles in the park? Like, does nobody see this? But nobody does. All they see is a 40-year-old woman chilling out eating her yogurt, and Anna's a bit like, am I going crazy here or aliens actually? And she just kind of, you know what, I'm gonna go my own fate. She ends up going home. When she gets home though, this alien always waiting for her at home, and she's like, hold up now, what is actually going on? You know, it's very, very info dumpy. We get a lot where Sirin is basically just info dumping onto Anna about where she's from, which is Exordia, the different things that her people believe in, like these 7 passions and all of this stuff. But a kind of like rapport grows between the two of them. Anna ends up helping Sirin out, and Sirin needs help getting to her spaceship, which is currently at the bottom of the Central Park pond where Anna first met her. So Anna goes there, goes to this spaceship that is sunk at the bottom of the pond. But I have to admit, there was quite a gruesome scene, like genuinely very gross scene. The temperature in this thing has gone completely out of whack. So the metal that Anna is stepping on, barefooted because of she had to go swimming in this pond, means that her feet are now frozen to the metal. And so to move, she has to lift her feet off, leaving a layer of skin behind. Oof, God, it was gross. It was so gross. I really did cringe at that bit. I was like, oh God, no, that's disgusting. But then things happen and that's it. Then we cut to the end and then we're on part 2 where we're currently following Eric, and this is now very military heavy. I definitely preferred Act 1. I think Act 1, I can see why not everyone's going to get on with Anna. She's a very angry character. Even the writing style is so very different to Seth Dickinson's other book, which was The Traitor by Cormorant, as I mentioned. It's so completely different that I feel like it does take you a minute to get used to it. Like, you really have to adapt into the writing style of this. Find that with part 2 even more so than anything else. I don't really like Eric as a character. I'm not really into all the really military heavy jargon and things that's going on. There's also a lot of like backstory to Eric when he was younger and all of this stuff. So when we first meet Eric, this EMP's happened. It's kind of wiped out all the electricity around the world. He's then called into like this emergency thing to deal with stuff, and someone that he knows, Clayton, he's got a very turbulent past with him, has called Eric in and has also told Eric they've got to go pick Anna up. And Eric's a bit like, why her out of everyone. And Clayton's like, oh no, because you know, she's from this area, we're gonna have to go to Tower Call. This was where the epicenter of it all is, so you know, we have to bring her with us. And it's a bit like very convenient that we're suddenly going to the one person who has interacted with an alien which nobody knows about. Like, it seems very convenient, but you know, that's what they do. There's a lot of like mansplaining as well when it comes to like the military. Certain language that's being used and stuff is a bit like eh. But at the same time, I'm still intrigued and I still want to continue on reading, but it definitely has like my reading pace for it's definitely dropped because of how military heavy it is. But as we just saw, we're close to Act 3, so hopefully with Act 3, one, it gets explained as to why Anna is with her. Maybe we'll get a different perspective, and so then we'll get past some of that military stuff and go back to how it was in that first part, because that's definitely been my favourite. Like, if I was to give star ratings, it would have been 4-star for that first part, because I really enjoyed it. And if we had carried on with that, I feel like while this book wouldn't be a book that is going to be amazing or a book for everyone, it is a book that I can be like, you know what, I like it, I like the character. It's not one that I'm going to recommend to everyone, can understand why people DNF like Danny did, but you know, I'm intrigued. Then we get into Act 2 and I'm like, I'm not as intrigued. And so it's kind of slipped down to a low 4-star, which is a 3.75. I'm kind of feeling that at the minute, and hopefully it comes back up and it's just this part that was a bit slow with all the military stuff. But yeah, it's been a mixed bag, really. I am intrigued though. I really want to know what's going on, and I'm just really hoping we go back to having Anna's perspective, because I really like her as a character. I think she's really interesting. I really loved it. It was giving me very much the feeling of Baru from the Traitor Barrow Cormorant series. Like, I had a lot of connections, I would say, that I could make between Anna and Baru, which was really interesting. And I do quite like that this is set in our world, just in 2013. There are a lot of references to things that obviously we know of because it's set in our world, but with this added alien. And I do find it fascinating the way their system and like social hierarchy and all of that works. Like, it's so interesting. So I'm just hoping we get back to that, because that's the bit that I've really liked. But yeah, that's it for now. I'm going to read more this evening. I'm looking forward to getting back to it. Don't have many plans going on at the minute, but yeah, I'm enjoying this one. It's one of those ones where I'm like, it's a conflicted enjoyment, because I'm hoping it gets better, but I feel like it could dip down more. But I'm also, I did like that first part, so I'm just hoping we get back to that first part, we get back to Anna's perspective and her interactions with Syrian, because that was really, really good. It's just this bit with Eric where I'm a bit like, not as interested, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's it. Nothing else really to report, just the usual work, editing, that sort of thing. I'm gonna check back in when I've read some more of this book, and hopefully I have more thoughts for you. But yes, first impressions, really like part 1. I think it's really strong. Well, I say really strong, like I enjoyed it. Like, I like our character, I like the feistiness and just kind of like her whole screw the world attitude that she's got going on, and also how she just really accepts Siren as an alien, because she's like, you know what, I've seen some stuff going on. We know her past is messed up, we know she's had to deal with some horrendous things, and so she's like, sure, why wouldn't aliens be real? Why not? And she literally just rolls with the punches. So I quite like her as a character, but I know not going to be for everyone. But Eric, I don't know, I'm just not really enjoying the perspective of Eric. I think, plus the backstory, I can't quite work out why we suddenly got like this info dumping of this backstory to a character that, I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't know what it's going to add. Hopefully it's all going to come together, but it just seems a bit odd that we get so much. It's quite info dumpy, I guess is what I'm saying. So like, I don't think the writing is the best at all. I think the writing in the Traitor Barrow Cormorant is so much better. The writing, yeah, is not one that I could recommend, but I'm intrigued enough by the science of it and the alien and Siren and all of this. I want to continue, but I don't think it's going to be one that I'd be like, oh yeah, amazing, everyone should go and read this, because I just don't think it's well written enough for that. But hopefully that changes and it develops and it gets better over the course of the book. Anyway, I've probably repeated myself far too many times, so I'm going to leave you in peace and I'll catch up with you soon. morning. I don't know how I feel about this book. I'm not gonna lie, it's so difficult for me to decide how to feel, which sounds really weird, but I'm up to page 281. I'm in the middle of a chapter. What chapter am I up to? I think it's like chapter something, middle of chapter 11. These chapters are really long, but they're kind of broken down into like sub chapters within the main chapter, and I don't know how I feel about this book. I really don't. So we'll start from where I last left off. So we were going into part 3, I think it was. We do get Clayton's perspective, and we actually understand why Anna was chosen for this mission. I don't like Clayton's perspective, we'll just put that in there. Really don't like Clayton's perspective. We get another perspective called Kaya, I think that's how it's pronounced. I have been listening on audiobook as well, we're going to get into that, and they pronounce it as Kaya, so I'm pretty sure that's right. In part 3 we're kind of getting a mix of Clayton and Kaya. Kaya is being interviewed by Clayton. The timeline is kind of jumping around a little bit, so we get the present day of, okay, these aliens, what's happening in Tower Cool and what's going on there and the military presence, but we're also going backwards in time from when things were first landing before Eric, Anna, Clayton and that landed in Tower Cool and the different things that they were finding. That's what we get with she's a scientist, her perspective. We're getting one, why she got interested in science and stuff, and then the perspective of the first science team that was interacting with this alien machinery, which Clayton's trying to find out any and all information possible. But the timeline is jumping around because we'll get moments where we jump to Anna and Eric, and that's kind of like continuing on from once they've landed in Tower Cool, so it's a bit all over the place. There were really boring parts in this book, especially like Clayton's perspective I really didn't enjoy. We were getting a lot of his backstory and stuff, and I'm just like, you're just a bit of a dick, really, you're not a nice person. And there's a lot of moralizing in who gets to decide what a value of life is. Like, can we put a value on a life? How do we decide whether one person should live over these other 100 people, or should this person die to save 100 people? And who gets to make that choice? And so there's lots and lots of moralizing about all of that. So there's also a lot of commentary on military, not just American, but kind of military in general, but also how the ideal of military, the way it's supposed to be one thing, but obviously us being humans, we mess it all up and stuff. So there is a lot of that in here. Feels like this is more of a military book with a splash of sci-fi, whereas I'd rather the other way around, where it's a sci-fi book with a splash of military, but instead we're not getting that. It's quite heavy, so there'll be moments where we're getting the more military side of things, so it's very heavy in the military jargon, and then there's other sides where we're getting a lot more of the scientist side of things, and so it's very scientific heavy. I was kind of struggling from when I last updated. There were moments where it was getting really dry, especially with Clayton's perspective. I was honestly thinking to myself, do I just DNF? I'm just not feeling it. And then I thought, you know what, I really want to give this one a good try. I was like, I could skip past those bits that are boring me and just read the bits that I'm interested in, but I was like, I don't really want to do that because that's basically DNF in a book anyway, because you're not reading it fully. So then I decided to look and just see if this was available in any other format, because sometimes I find changing up formats, so like reading ebook and physical, sometimes helps with that, because I can just kind of like, I don't know, it just makes it a little bit easier, because normally ebook I pick up and put down, so it's a bit easier. Couldn't find it available as an ebook on Libby or anything, and then I thought, you know what, why don't I just try audiobook? Now, audiobooks for me, if you've been on this channel a while, you'd know that I don't really get on with them that easily. I find them quite difficult to follow, apart from one set of audiobooks, which is Lord of the Rings. Really like those, think they're very amazingly well done and I can pay attention to them. Generally speaking, I find audiobooks I zone out. There will be moments where it captures my interest and I'll be listening in, but I find if I'm trying to do other things at the same time, I get so distracted I don't know what's happened to the audiobook. But I thought, one, it saves me skim reading, and two, it means that anything that is actually important in all of these military bits, at least I have read it in some form. Thought, you know what, let's have a look. It wasn't available on Libby as an audiobook either, but I did have a free trial for Audible, and I thought, you know what, I'm never actually going to keep Audible because I do not listen to audiobooks enough for that, but I could use the free trial and see if this is available, which it was. So I am now kind of reading, and I kind of changed between the two, between listening on audiobook to physically reading. Now there are moments that I'm really loving, like honestly the last few pages of this has been great, like we're really into like the science bit, things are being changed and weird, and it's kind of reminded me a bit like Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, really enjoying those parts. But there are moments where it then slows down, background, like all the background information on each of the side characters, that we get a new perspective, we suddenly have to get their backstory. And I'm like, we don't need a backstory done in an info dumpy way every single time for every single character. Like, it's just not needed. So for those bits, the audiobook is really helping with that, because I can just get on, do other things, prepare little things, I have it on in the background, so I'm still reading it, but I don't have to be frustrated at the fact that I am just sat there only reading this very dry bit, because this book is dry. Like, there are moments in this book where it is so dry and drawn out, and I'm like, why? But then we'll get something really interesting, and I'm like, but this is fascinating. Why aren't we focusing more on this? So I'm loving the sci-fi elements of this book a lot. I think it's so interesting. Like I say, it feels like a weird blend of like Annihilation, you know, the parts where they're like, because the point of Annihilation is that they're going into this Area X that's been like changed. They don't know what's going on, they don't know what's causing it, they don't understand it, people get infected but it's never the same way twice, and so they send this group of women in to try and find out what's going on. What this is like everyone that's interacting with this alien machinery is kind of changing in weird ways that they don't understand how they're changing and things, and it's really weird and unusual, and you've got all these different people trying to explain it and nothing's right. Like nobody knows what's actually going on. So I really like those parts of it. I still think the very first part of this book is the strongest. I really enjoyed that. I think this book could have been so much better if we carried on with that perspective. I think changing perspectives and stuff, I get it. We've got like Eric, who's like this meant to be the ideal American soldier. I don't believe this. Like, we get a moment where Anna's thinking to herself, imagine if the world was full of Erics and things like this, and I'm like, no, because he's still not a good guy. He's got a very strong set of morals and what he thinks is right and wrong, but what makes that right, like him right to do that? Like, he's still gone around killing loads of people just because he thinks that's what he should do. Like, he thinks it's good, and it's not actually part of what he's been told to do. So he's been going around assassinating people because he says they're bad and morally corrupt, and yeah, sure, but that doesn't mean you get to turn into a vigilante and turn around and kill those people. Like, there are laws in place for a reason, you know? I don't think we should have a world full of vigilantes. I don't think that would actually work that well, but I mean, this is what I mean. There's so many questions and moralizing that this book does, and then we get into the science stuff, and it's so interesting. So I can kind of see what Seth Dickinson's trying to do. He's kind of using this book as a way to really question military, not just American, but military in general, asking all of these different questions about philosophy and things like this. And I get it, but I want a science fiction book, and I feel like those science fiction parts, it's there and it's really interesting when we get it, but it's separated with all of this other stuff, info dumpy, and it's dry and it's really not great, but I want to know what's going on. And this is where I'm stuck constantly thinking, do I DNF? Do I carry on? Do I DNF? Do I carry on? And then I'll get to a point where I'm like, this has been really dry and drawn out, maybe I'll just DNF, this is not worth it. And then something happens and I'm like, wait, I want to know what's going on now. So now I've got to carry on reading, and it's just been a really weird time. Like, genuinely, last night I was thinking to myself, do I just instead carry on with Area X? Because I read the first one, Annihilation. I started reading Authority, but it was as an ebook, and I was like, I don't want to read this as an ebook, I want a physical copy. So I stopped reading it with full intention to reread what I had read and then continue on when I got the physical book. Then it just never happened. And so last night I was like, maybe I just swap. Maybe I just DNF this book, whether it's a DNF for now, whether I come back to it. I mean, I've got the audiobook, I have my 30-day free trial. Maybe across those 30 days I will just read it and chip away at it slowly. And so I did. I actually picked up Authority and started reading the first couple of pages, and I'm like, see, this is so much better already. But I was still thinking about this book. I still really want to know what's going on. And while I think this is honestly a dumpster fire of a book in a way, because it's just all over the place. Like I said, it's a bit confusing and weird, reminded me of my reading experience with Gideon the Nymph series, like the Locked Tomb series, but like that one was done better. And now we've got the science bits that's feeling a bit like Annihilation, but again, Annihilation was done better. I don't know, but at the same time, I can't put it down, because even when I started reading that, I'm like, well, hang on a minute, I've been listening to the audiobook, kind of struggling with that now. What if I swap and go back to physically reading it? And then I started physically reading it and I was really invested. And then this morning I had to like tidy up and do a few things, so I had the audiobook going on. And I think out of the two, I do prefer physically reading it, but the audiobook is really helpful for those really dry moments where I'm reading and I'm like, ugh, this is a struggle to get through, then I can swap to the audiobook, listen to those bits, and then when it starts getting interesting again, grab the book. Because I'm not gonna lie, the last bit where I've just left it, there was some interesting stuff going on. As I mentioned, like, I would 100% be reading this with my eyeballs. Like, I was so tempted to just stop everything I was doing and read with my eyeballs because it was getting really interesting. And that is where I'm gonna carry on. And then once it slows down again, I'll probably skip ahead into the audiobook to catch up with where I physically read and do it that way. The only thing is it's a lot of faffing around because the chapters in this are different to the chapters in the audiobook. So it's kind of a bit of faffing around to try and work out where I actually am, get that match. But once you've done it, like, it's kind of worth it, and it means that I can get through those slower, drier moments. Or like this afternoon, I'm going out with my partner just for a little lunch. So instead of bringing this book with me on the train, I'm just going to take my phone and listen to the audiobook. So yeah, I mean, it says in the audiobook, because I'm reading it on 1.5 times speed, I can read so much faster than what they talk. So I cannot tandem read. I would love to immersive read, and I'm so jealous of people that can do that. But the book can't match my reading speed, like with my physical eyeballs. But the problem is if I speed it up so that it does match how quickly I can physically read it, I then get distracted because it sounds jarbled and weird, and I get it's like a sensory overload. I cannot do that. So generally speaking, when I'm reading, the only things that I have on in the background is like classical music or ambience or something like that. I do not have things where they're talking. I get too distracted. Sometimes I can have like a YouTube video on in the background while I'm reading if it's a reread or a really easy read that I don't need to pay attention to. This is a book I need to pay attention to, so I cannot be doing that. So I can't tandem read this. And in general, I don't like tandem reading because, again, like, the way how fast I read compared to how fast I can listen is two different speeds, and I don't like how that doesn't mesh, like, doesn't gel together. But it has been really helpful to listen to the audiobook to get me past bits that are just slow, and then to be like, wait a minute, this is so interesting, grab the book, stop the audiobook, physically read, and be like, okay, cool, this was really good, now I can go back to the audiobook. So it's really weird. I have never had an experience like that with a book before. Like, I cannot think of a single book that has had a reaction like this from me where I'm like, you are so bad, but I want to keep reading. And it not be because like, oh, it's a car crash that I can't, like, no, this is genuinely a book that I would never recommend to people. It is all over the place. There is far too much like backstory, military jargon, things like this. I feel like it could have been done in a much better way and like streamlined better. But the sci-fi elements, like the interesting bits, like what's actually happening, fascinating. And you know what, there's loads about the writing that I'm really not enjoying in this book, which is weird because, again, I like Seth Dickinson's other book, really enjoyed that, thought it was fantastic. This is such a completely different tone to Traitor Barracomoran. I'm not getting on with it. Like, some of the stuff, especially because we're following a lot of men and they're being like really dude bros when it comes to like how they treat women, certain things that they're saying, and I'm just like, I don't want to read this or listen to that. Like, what the hell, what's wrong with you? We don't need to use language like that. At the same time, I really want to know what's going on with this alien stuff. Like, I really do. And that is what's keeping me hooked, because I think it is so interesting. Now, again, that could just be because I'm new to sci-fi and I'm really enjoying sci-fi, and so having this like first contact weirdness, the way the alien matter is changing things, concepts of it all is so interesting. And again, that could just be because I'm newer into sci-fi, and maybe after I've expanded and I've read a lot more sci-fi, I can be like, but it's not as good as what it could be, even more so than how I'm already feeling. When it comes to a star rating for this book, I don't even know. I genuinely don't know. Obviously, this, like, when I first checked in, I was like, 3.75. It's a low 4-star. Honestly, it could have been a 4-star if we carried on how part 1 was, because I really liked it. It had its problems and stuff, but so much better than how the rest of this book is gone. Then obviously dipped down to a 3.75 because of Eric's bit and the whole like really heavy military stuff. I'm like, it's not really my cup of tea, but I'm still intrigued. Now I feel like maybe it's like a 3.5. Maybe even a 3.25, which normally, if it's less than a 3.5, I'm DNFing. But I don't want to DNF because I'm so intrigued, and genuinely this is all I've been doing. I've literally just been going back and forth on what I want to do with this book because I just don't know. I know if I stop reading it now, I'm going to constantly think about it. I also know I've got a busy ass month. This is the time for me to read it. I do not have the time to just be reading it slowly over the whole month. I don't have the time. I've got too many books to read. I've got too many things things to do. May is a busy ass month. So I don't want to be doing that, but I also don't want to put it down because I know I'm going to constantly think about it, which means that I won't be able to enjoy my other reads because I'll just be thinking about how this book went. But at the same time, I'm not fully enjoying it either. Make of that what you will, because this is a mess of an update and I don't know how to feel. You'll have to tell me if you've ever had a reading experience like that, where genuinely it is a book that you cannot help but want to read, but at the same time know that parts of it are just so bad you want to DNF, but the rest of it is so intriguing you want to carry on. Like, it is bizarre. I genuinely don't think I've had an experience like this before, and it is not one I would recommend. It really isn't. But you know, if any of what I've said makes you intrigued, then feel free to let me know. Also, if you can hear an alarm going off in the background, I'm pretty sure it's a car alarm. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, I've chatted to you for over 18 minutes and I still don't know how I feel about this book. I know I'm going to continue. I'm going to hopefully just try and knuckle down and just get it done over the next couple of days because I'm off for 2 days. So we've got, what, 240 pages to go. So if I can do 120 pages a day, I'd love that. Honestly, I think I should, because the audiobook says I've got like 8 hours. So if I do 4 hours today, 4 hours tomorrow, that's an easy one. And when I'm reading it faster than the audiobook anyway. So in reality, I've probably got like 7 hours, maybe 6.5 hours to go with this book. So it's doable. It's really doable. We'll just see. And hopefully I can come in at the end of the book going, okay, this is how I feel about it. I really want to be able to go either, you know what, I'm so glad I actually did read this. This is a book I'm going to reread at some point, and this is the rating I'm settling on. Or I'm going to be like, you know what, it wasn't worth pushing through, but I'm pleased I've done it because I'm not like genuine. I mean, you know, if you've been watching my previous videos, you know how quick I've been to DNF things. So it's not that I don't want to DNF, like I feel bad for DNFing, because no, we were over that. I've DNF'd a lot this year. It's just, it will sit with me. I will constantly be wondering what happened, and rather than be sat with that question, we're just gonna read it and find out. So this is really weird and bizarre, and that's where I'm at. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get on with my day. I'm just gonna attempt to read more of this, see how it goes, and just attempt to work out how I feel about this one. I think I'm gonna need help because I don't know how to feel. Please let me know if anyone else has actually read this and finished this. Let me know what you think. Like I say, Danny DNF'd it, and I can understand why she did, because God, this is just a whole thing. Okay, I'm gonna go. Ignore the scraggly appearance. I've just finished work, but I did finish Exordia last night, and I honestly don't know how I feel about this book still. I really wanted to like it, as we know, because of the author being the same person that wrote Traitor Barrow Cormorant and everything, and I just don't think this lived up. I think this was more of them having a critique against American military, America breaking so many promises and the atrocious things it's done and stuff, more than actually a science fiction novel, which is a shame, because it just, the science fiction was so interesting, especially at the start of this book. As we know, the first part was my favourite. That has not changed. Towards the end, we get more interaction with the aliens and things, and like the technology and stuff, like it's interesting, but I feel like it took such a long time to get there that I'm just not that interested, which is a bit of a shame. It just didn't quite work for me, which is, oh, it's so disappointing. I really, really wanted to love this book and it just didn't quite happen. So yeah, in the end, I ended up only reading probably about 30 or 40 more pages physically, and the rest of it I just listened to audiobook while I had it on in the background while I was doing things. Yeah, it was just the way it is, I'm afraid. It just didn't really land for me. The thing is, right, so I was thinking about what rating I would give this book, and I honestly think it's like a 2.75, and normally I would be unhauling this, and I think it will become an unhaul, but right now I guess I'm still almost like trying to gaslight myself into thinking I enjoyed this book, because I'm like, well, what if I prefer it on reread? That does happen, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes on reread I prefer a book, I can get more from it, I think it gets a bit more intricate and stuff, I can pick up on some of the nuances and things, but at the same time I know there was also a moment when I was listening to this and I was like, I really don't like these characters. Like, there's some of the stuff that comes across in this book, I'm like, why was this needed? That wasn't needed to be said. Some of the ways they treat women and stuff in here, I'm just like, but again, why? It's not really needed. And I feel this just isn't for me. But also at the same time I'm like, but what if, because I did really like that first part, and I think that's where the disappointment has come in, is because that first part, thing is, it wasn't anything amazing. Like, I'm hyping it up as if it was something amazing. It wasn't. It just saw the potential with it. I liked the characters, I liked the reflection of me being able to see characteristics between Anna and Baru, as I mentioned. Like, I enjoyed all of that, and so there was so much potential, especially in that relationship between Anna and Seren, and really exploring that. But I feel like this book ended up just being this military thing, and it just didn't quite work, and a lot of some of like the word choices and stuff in here I just can't quite get over. So I do think this is going to be an unhaul, but I'm unhappy about it. Like, this is probably one of the first times where I can be like, I'm unhauling a book and I'm really not happy with unhauling it, because I wanted it to be so much better. I mean, as we know, I've been unhauling quite a lot of books, like the DNFs and things, they all end up getting unhauled because, you know, I haven't enjoyed them, so I'm not going to get back to them. They're gonna move on, and I've been okay with that because I've been seeing it as, well, I'm crafting shelves how I really want them to be. However, I really want to enjoy sci-fi, and this is the first sci-fi book that I've actually, no, that's a lie. This is the second sci-fi book that I've picked up this year that I haven't enjoyed, which is really frustrating me. The one prior to this was When the Moon Hits Your Eye, which, as we know, if you saw that video, I was not impressed. So it's just a bit of a shame to then have a sci-fi book by a fantasy author that I know I like their fantasy work, to then have this and it not work. It's frustrating, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So yeah, 2.75 is where I'm landing on this. My sci-fi vlog didn't go the way I wanted. However, I know if I had read, let me grab it all, the book that was an option for this video, Record of a Spaceborne Few, I think I would have enjoyed this. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much because as I mentioned, I wasn't in the mood for this sort of like cozy sci-fi, but I still would have enjoyed it a lot more than Exordia. So I know that. I also know if I had swapped how I was feeling to Authority instead of continuing on with Exordia, again, I would have loved this and really enjoyed it, and it would have been a really good reading experience. And then honestly, at that point, if I had done the swap, I probably would have kept this on my shelves, probably would have sat on my shelves for like a year plus before I got round to reading it. Maybe I would have preferred it then, or maybe I would have had the same experience and gone, actually, I'm really happy I swapped because this isn't the book for me. I mean, again, I do like some of the sci-fi parts in this book, but like I say, I think it's really reminiscent of something like Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, where it's being very weird and unusual and kind of not really explained. We get more of an explanation towards the end of this book, and it all being to do with maths. So like the universe and stuff is all created through math and like mathematics and stuff, which honestly went over my head because I'm not a math girly. As soon as I stopped that in school, that was it, you know. I did well, I passed my exams with math, but do I know more? No. And so a lot of this was a bit dry and info dumpy and stuff on maths and how all the science and stuff was working with the maths, and honestly a lot of it was going over my head. And I think that's another part of the difficulty for me, is because I couldn't really grasp it all, and I did find it so dry, and so the science side of it, which I wanted to really enjoy, I couldn't enjoy because it was so dry And then all the military stuff, which I just wasn't as interested in, was also dry. And so when we get the moments with the aliens and stuff, like, I'm enjoying that, but towards the end it's just this massive shootout that's going on, and I'm just like, I wanted something else. I feel like we could have had a story that was just about Anna and Srin and really explored Serenjor, they call it, this relationship they had between them, really explored that, really got to grips. Like, I think I would have preferred maybe one, maybe two characters that we really got to know, not loads and loads of characters that, while yes, developed the science behind it all and really did go into those moralizing about, you know, who gets to decide who lives and dies and all of this, it didn't give me the character connection that I need for a book. That's something I've realized for a book, is like, I prefer it a lot more if I can connect to the character in some way. I don't have to like them, I just have to be able to connect with them. And then having more science fiction in this rather than it being such a military heavy book. Like, yeah. So yeah, 2.75, probably gonna unhaul it, gonna be sad about it because I really wanted to like this, but it just didn't work. I'm not unhappy that I finished it though. This is one of the rare times where I think if I DNF'd this one, as I mentioned, I would have constantly been thinking about it. So I'm really pleased I persevered and actually finished this book, even though it did come out a low rating, and honestly, because of the low rating, justified in thinking, yes, do I DNF? But I'm pleased I didn't, because that question of possibly it going back to what I liked in the first bit of this book would have kept me going to eventually want to read this. Now that I've read it, I'm disappointed. I can sit with that disappointment, and honestly, probably after I've done the wrap up for May, I will just unhaul this book. And like, there was this whole bit that, okay, look, slight is spoilery, but it's out of context, but there's this whole bit where you've got one of the army guys going to Clayton going, oh my god, should we tell the girls to dress more, you know, conservatively, because, you know, you need your strength, you can't be going and having sex with women right now, we're in a bit of a situation. I'm like, what the hell? Why are we telling women that they have to dress more modestly? Excuse me, that's what we're actually saying in this book? Are we really going there? Now, I'm hoping it is just Seth Dickinson trying to be very like military bro about it all and stuff, because I know like aesthetics, like, it's not quite like that from what, like, from the other series. Like, I didn't notice anything like that. And generally as an author, like, I quite like them as an author. Like, I read a few interviews of him talking about this book and how he paid himself to get people to read this from the cultures that he was describing to make sure he got everything accurate. Like, I get that, but then why were certain lines in here like that? Like, I just, yeah. So, you know what, the more I think about this book, the more annoyed I'm getting, so we're just gonna put it down. We're gonna say this video is over. This wasn't the strongest start to May, but I'm really pleased I have actually done a sci-fi book, and at least I know what to kind of like steer clear in sci-fi. I don't think I'm gonna be going for books with military stuff. I mean, in this, it doesn't really have much. Oh no, I mean, I guess it does say civilians and soldiers and scientists, but it's like, I didn't think it would be quite so military heavy as it is, so I think I probably won't go for that in future, or at least not for a while maybe. But yeah, I just never mind. But it has got me really in the mood to read this, so I definitely think this is going to be on the table soon. Probably, I mean, definitely not in June, it's a really busy month, so that's not gonna happen, but definitely this year I would definitely be getting to this one at least, because it's really got me in the mood to be reading this one, so that's good. But yeah, that didn't go so well. Still, never mind, it is what it is. I had a really nice lunch with my partner. We went to our favourite Italian place, and that was absolutely wonderful. The food was really good. Also, while I was listening to this, because I was like, I just don't want to physically read this book at all, I started playing Animal Crossing, and it's been such a long time since I've picked up Animal Crossing. I've just been really busy and stuff, so actually having an audiobook was quite nice to just be able to listen and then also do other things like Animal Crossing, which was just so much fun. And I started building like this foresty thing. Probably going to change it halfway through. I haven't managed to actually complete a theme once on my Animal Crossing game, but it was really fun to do and relaxing to do. And also actually listening to the audiobook, I think it's definitely cemented that I'm not really an audiobook person. Again, Lord of the Rings, whole different matter, but I I mean, this narrator was very good and I did like how she did it and the different accents she was doing and stuff, but generally speaking, I found it so easy to zone out. Now that could just be the book itself was boring, so I wasn't paying attention to it, but especially before when I was trying a lot more audiobooks, that is always the case that I have found with audiobooks, is that I just zone out. I was like playing Animal Crossing and stuff, and then someone would say something and I'd be like, wait, what? I forgot. Wait, where are we? And I'd kind of like to rewind and stuff to figure out how we'd got there. And yeah, I don't think audiobook is for me. But, you know, it really did help me at least finish this. And like I say, I'm pleased that I did finish it, so I don't have all those questions of, but what if I really liked it? No. The answer is no, you really didn't, but that's fine. To be fair, I think I should give it less than a 2.75, but I kind of feel okay with a 2.75 because, you know, I did like the first part of this and there were moments here and there that I liked, but yeah. Okay, right. Well, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about this, and let me know if you've read this book, if you've attempted to read it, or what are some of your favourite sci-fi books, because that's something I definitely want to explore more, is different sci-fi and things. And you know, this one was a miss, but that's fine. That's part of exploring a new genre, or like a new to me genre, is finding what you like and finding what you don't like, and that's all part of it. So that is, it's fine, you know? I'm just rambling on, waffling on. I've actually got a whole nother video to update, so I'm gonna go and do that. You know what, as Hermione is sitting so nicely here, let's put a little black cat in the comments below. If you've made it this far or just don't know what to comment, then you can leave a little black cat. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Like, I really appreciate it, so thank you. And an extra massive thank you to all of my Patreons. I really appreciate all your support over there, and I just I love it so much, so thank you so much. But for now, I am going to go. So if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links, everyone I've mentioned, Patreon, Discord, everything is linked below for you. And I will of course catch you in the very next video.